what advice you have for parents that are watching this right now.
Actually, I could say 1,000 things, but when I bring it down to the essential point, what is needed for their children to grow up as best they can, being healthy and happy, is that the parents be there for them.
That then leads straight into the question of how parents can do that when they're working or with the fast-paced life that everyone lives.
Well, actually, a lot of parents are doing a wonderful job doing that because they share very well and evenly, and it works, definitely. And that's how people do it. The developing child needs somebody they know sees them and feels them as special, important, and mainly that they matter. So that has a continuum. That has to be happening all of the time when children are young, right up until their teenage years. So the best thing that can be done is to work out how can we most be around our children. They don't have to be there tending to them. It's a bit like when my children were young, I made sure, no matter what, I had to work, but 3 p.m. was my time. I must be at home. And I used to get quite disappointed because I'd be there and I'd made some cookies or whatever I'd done, and they'd come in the door and go, hi, and then I just wouldn't see them for 3 hours. But that I was there was so important. Now, I know that can't be done very much in this day and age. There's many latchkey kids, and it's just not happening in that way. So that's something that I think is important, but more important than that is when you are there, you're there. In other words, your whole self is present in the home, not running around after the child, but then depending on the age, of course, but that the mother or father is there ready and willing to relate to the child and to the child's needs. And for the rest of it, good child, go and play, go away. It doesn't matter. But if you're there when they require you, they want all of you as the mother or father.
What about advice for mothers in particular?
Mothers I see, and I work with a lot of mothers, and I'm starting to do more and more mothers groups because women, I'm finding, are very distressed actually about what they see that is happening with their children when they're not there to be looking after them themselves. They miss their particular stages of growth, and it's very, very alarming actually. So what I have as a suggestion for mothers is, again, similar to the whole way of parenting, is that I find mothers today very distracted. I think they want to be distracted, mind you, but they are so distracted. I do a lot of observation with mothers and babies, mothers and children, and they're there tending to their child most definitely, and we'll do this and blah, 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 but they're not there. The child's going, the child can't even get to any place with the mother which is settled and quiet and everything's on the go.
Right.
And I can see children, I watch them, they even, I can see it in their hearts and minds and eyes. They look to their mother, they want something completely different to what their mother is giving them.
And do you think that is a result? I've seen that too, a
Okay.
lot.
Yes.
But do you think that's a result? Like, what is that?
Distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it sort of you weren't ready to have a kid, but it was on the checklist, and so you did? Or is it...
that is part of it.
Yeah. Or, like, there's that movie Babies, the documentary where they study
Yes.
all babies. And the San Francisco mother, I remember one scene where she was reading a book called, How to Be a Great Parent. And the baby was playing right next to her. And she was completely ignoring the baby and reading the book. And I thought that was just, classic. Because she's trying. She thinks she's doing the right thing. But the baby is right there. And she's ignoring the baby.
That's a good example.
So
yes.
How do you help people stop being so distracted?
Okay. Generally, I have to take them back to just what you mentioned before. why did you become a mother? What did you expect in becoming a mother? What were you thinking? Were you wanting a cute little baby? Those kinds of questions. And women very quickly understand that questioning, and they also are very honest with themselves. And what I find is I need them, so that they can start moving on, is to really work out what happened when their child actually came into the world, and whether the big question is, did they surrender to the child or not? And this is a word I use a lot. Mm-hmm. We mothers, our baby just came out of our body. There's a kind of a up onto the chest thing that even hospitals do these days, which is great. And there is the surrender. You surrender to the child's needs, not forever, but through particular developmental stages. And so many people haven't had that. I used to attend a lot of births, and I so often saw women, when the child came up, or they might have been having a water birth, and the child comes up and they're in shock, of course.
Panic.
But exactly, this is a living being. That's it. You're there. And I remember when my first child came home, we came home from the hospital, and in hospital it was fine. I lay her on the bed, and I was going to go and do something, and I just didn't know what to do. Oh no, I have to take her with me or something. I can't just leave her lying on the bed. It's that kind of thing. You need to surrender that child is going to need you. The child needs you deeply. So many mothers have never surrendered. It's like when I did my psychotherapy training with a whole group of people. And when I started working, I noticed all my co-students weren't able to get their therapy practices going. And we used to meet regularly, and it turned out exactly the same thing, and I thought this was very interesting. The people who didn't succeed in getting their therapy practices going, they didn't want to surrender to the people. When I say surrender, I mean commit, care deeply about that person's existence, their very existence, and then you come from whatever you believe is good for them, and yeah. So same with mothers.